At this plane, you can really just take it easy on the landings, just feeding in a little elevator, right like that, and boop. Okay. Welcome to the shop. Got the Hobbyzone Aeroscout. A month ago, I made a video of unboxing and flying it at my club, and it got a lot of attention. It has over 100,000 views on it. Clearly, some people like it. They like this Aeroscout. And there's a reason why the Aeroscout is an exceptionally good trainer. One, it's super stable. It's ready to fly. It has AS3X safe and AS3X built into that. It's also durable. So it'll take a little bit more abuse than some of the others, and that nose wheel's been reinforced. The other thing that's amazing about this plane is that the stall on this doesn't drop a wing, doesn't fall out of the sky. It is incredibly gentle. And you can use that to learn to land a little bit with a lot of caveats. In this video, what I want to do is go over how to have a successful first flight. You've bought this plane, you've played around with Real Flight Simulator, you're going to have your first flight. Now, there's a couple things that are really important about that first flight. One is the location, open place, not a parking lot, not a high cornfield, not a swamp or whatever, not a park with people all over it. No. Do it in a big open space with no one around, no trees, no light poles, no cars. That's my recommendation. The other thing is the weather. Have your first flight on a day that there's no wind. The wind sock or flags are just not moving at all. I'm trying to set you up for success. I see too many times people fly in poor location and or poor conditions, and they crash their plane. I say it in the video, and I've said it in all my videos. The number one thing you can do to learn how to fly, as far as to me, the best way is with an instructor on a buddy box. You will learn faster and you won't destroy your airplane as quickly. It's just the best thing to do. However, if you don't have access to that, flying this plane in safe, using a gyro to self-level is a great way to learn. So in this flight, this first flight I'm going to go over what direction to take off, that first turn, what to do, getting back on the throttle, how to make these turns. We're going to fly in safe mode. Normally, if I'm teaching someone how to fly on a buddy box, I don't introduce safe because it gives you a few bad habits of just mashing those sticks. And you lose that precision. But if that's not the case, if this is going to be your first flight, and just let's go for it. And that means using safe mode. And I'm going to go through all those details of making the turns, trying to make a circuit, and then make some approaches and how to land. I'm going to try to do as much as I can on this first flight to get you to that point where you take the plane up, and it's going to be scary, but we'll talk you through the whole process. And then you can reenact that on Real Flight and do some of those things. So when you're ready to go to that open field, you have a successful first flight without a lot of damage, and you can grow from that. And then eventually you'll grow by getting off of safe, being able to do aerobacks and so on and so forth, which I'll show, and I've showed on many videos. If you're not familiar with my channel, I have countless videos for the new pilot who's trying to figure this stuff out. So anyway, let's get on with this video. Stick around. We're going to do a control surface check. You can see the elevator is moving. Ailerons are moving, and while I'm doing it, you can see the rudder's moving at the same time. It has different modes with this switch here. This switch controls the modes, so you have safe mode, which means it's going to self-level. This one right here is intermediate mode, which means you can bank a little bit more, but not too much. This one is AS3X only, which means you can do loops and rolls and do all kinds of cool aerobatic stuff. Right here has high rate, low rate, high rate, low rate. Same thing with the elevator, low, high. And that little amount does make a difference. That is how this is set up from a ready to fly perspective. we're ready to go. We have a throttle cut right here, which is a super important thing, meaning my throttle doesn't work. Watch this. Now it does. All right, let's head to the runway. First flight, we're going to go up in safe mode. So you can see ailerons and the rudder moving. Same time, got elevator. Check my control surfaces, everything's working right. Let's talk a little bit about taking off. So here I've got a beautiful runway. Well, which way do I take off? And it's going to be really which way is the wind blowing. If the wind is coming from that direction, we want to take off into the wind. If you look at the windsock, it's totally down. It doesn't really matter. What I will say here is we got a gigantic ball of fire to the east there, and that causes some visual problems, because you try to fly through that, you're going to lose your plane. Guaranteed. It's going to be a problem. So what I'm going to do is do something a little different, but it helps me, and that's going to be I'm going to take off in an opposite direction and land from that direction. So what I mean is I'm going to take off right to left, and taking off is simple as easing on that throttle, using the rudder to keep it down the center line the best I can, and once I got some speed, give some elevator and the plane will go up. And yes, this plane will take off in that short amount of time, a short amount of runway. Let's go. So I'm going to pull back gently, and there we're up. So for your first flight, the biggest thing is making that turn, slowing down to half throttle and making that turn. If you have flown in the simulators, you know that you do not need to be at full throttle the whole time, and that's a mistake a lot of beginners make. Now this plane flies very slow at half throttle as I'm meandering around here. That's all. Your first flight is a lot about just getting familiar with the sticks. Now I'm in safe mode, and safe mode allows you to just basically shove that aileron to the left here and making a left turn. I'm diving a little, so I'm going to give a little elevator, but that right there is full aileron and a little bit of up at half throttle. Look at that, it just goes round and round safely, nice and easy. Now in this mode, if I let go of the sticks, all I've done is let go of the sticks. I'm not doing anything, and it's just flying straight and level. Gonna make my turn, add a little elevator because I'm going down, let go. I'm a big fan of using a buddy box, but if you don't have a buddy box, this safe mode is kind of your buddy box, meaning it's going to save your plane if you get disoriented, if you're not turning properly, if you notice it's piling into the ground. Let go of the sticks. Here, each time I turn at the slow half speed, I have to feed in a little elevator at the same time, because the plane just wants to dive. See, watch it. It's diving, 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 diving. It's going to come down and hit the ground. Well, we don't want that, so we give a little up elevator. So I've made a number of circuits. At some point, it's going to be really important that you make some approaches to landing. I'm going to slow down even more, make a nice wide turn with a little up elevator. Look how slow this guy will fly. This is a really great plane for a beginner because it will fly slow. You can fly it slow. A lot of people think it flies a little too fast, but if you slow down and give it some up elevator, because it has so little stall, I'm going to chop throttle right here. Watch this. Hands off, and it's just coming down. I'm going to feed in a little elevator there, and a touchdown. Let's go back up. Let's try that landing again. It's important that you get familiar with the landings on these planes. Landings cause more damage to planes than anything else out there, and people just don't practice it. With this Aeroscout, you can literally, I just chop throttle. I have no throttle, and I'm making my base to final turn, and it's coming in. My hands are off. I mean, I'm not really doing anything. Now I'm feeding in a little elevator, and it lands. You want to land on the mains. The main landing gear, you really need to land on that. If you don't, it's going to bounce. Just to be clear, the main landing gear are the ones in the back. You need to have that nose slightly up when you land. Let me show you something else you can do with this plane. I just killed the throttle, making my turn, my base to final turn. Now it's dropping altitude. Notice that? Because, well, I killed throttle. I'm going to give full up elevator here. Elevator, I've got full up elevator. And watch this plane. Watch what it does. It just comes down. I have full up. No throttle, full up elevator. Watch this. Just to show you how impressive this plane is for landings. Full up elevator. I stalled it. I am stalled. But the plane just keeps flying. Okay, so kind of showing some examples there. The hardest part to get to these landings is getting a good approach and having the skills to be able to line up with the runway. That is always the hardest part for new pilots. I see it all the time. I'll make a quick plug about a bunch of videos that I have made on landing. If you're new to flying RC, which you're probably watching this, so you are, you should check out my channel. Now again, I'm in safe mode, which means that's as much as I can turn, and that's as much elevator as I can give. So I'm going to pull back on that stick. I have full up elevator, and it's flying slow. It's coming down. I've chopped the throttle. You don't hear that noise. And look at this thing. That's why this is a really good beginner plane. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to let it land just like this. Look at that. Not many planes can do that. I'll just tell you right now. Putting it into a stall by full up elevator and just letting it come down is incredibly gentle. Nice thing about this is the plane, you just let go of the stick and it flies straight from there. Then you just modulate that throttle a little bit. Let's try it. So we're making our turn right here. I'm going to back off on throttle. I'm now at quarter throttle. Totally no throttle right here. No throttle. Full up elevator, and it just lands. Let's try that again. All right, let's make our approach. This is our downwind leg. We want to be low enough, don't be high. Don't want to be too high. I've given left and a little up, cutting throttle. If I let go completely, it dives a little. So I'm going to give a little up elevator, and there it goes. When I make a comment like I'm giving up, I'm actually holding up. Maybe a little bit, maybe an 1/8 inch, maybe a quarter, in some cases full. I'm not just giving a little up and then putting it back to neutral. Let's try it again. And I recommend you do this. I recommend you try to take off and land several times. Because what it does for you is just gets you familiar with that landing approach, which is just so critical. So we're going to do it again. Got a little left, a little up. I'm backing off on throttle. I'm just down to about a quarter throttle right now. Let go of the stick to line up. I need to adjust slightly. I've totally chopped throttle, and I'm coming down. Now I'm feeding in a little up elevator, and that's it. Okay, you got your first flight in. Congratulations. Keep practicing that, and then we're going to start getting into the other modes. You eventually need to get out of safe mode if you want to do more aerobatics and do some other things. But this will get you familiar with the sticks and making approaches.